Welcome, y'all. Welcome to a new episode of Reflections TV, where I am your host today, Pastor Shirley Hood. Listen, these shows are going to get good and better by the minute. Let me tell you, our last episode was excellent, but this one is going to be more great than ever. You would not believe who I have on my show. But before I introduce my first guest, listen, after what you have watched and what my first guest has done for the state of Rhode Island, you will be amazed at what she is going to bring to the table on today. But before we get into this perfect interview, I just like to say thank you to all of our viewers who have been watching Reflections TV for the last 10 years. Your comments, your suggestions are so great, and we can't thank you enough for just being a part of a community ministry that cares about you and your well-being. And we're doing every effort to make sure that we bring about great TV programming to you in your home. Listen, if you haven't checked us out, go on Facebook. We are on Facebook, and it's under Reflections TV. Get to see the latest episodes, see what is about to come out. Even check on our YouTube page. That's right, go to Destiny Productions and you will see all the list of the shows on there. And listen, you will be up to date of our latest episodes, including this one to come. All right, so without any further ado, listen, you know I got to do a introduction for my first guest. Okay, here we go. So my first guest, y'all, are you ready? Okay, hold your breath. My first guest is the 70th Lieutenant Governor of the state of Rhode Island. She is a Native American from the Dominican Republic who is deeply passionate about the people and values of our community. She is also the first woman of color. Do you hear what I said? The first woman of color to achieve such a triumph leadership position in our state. I want you all to please join me welcoming my first guest, Lieutenant Governor Sabina Matos. Lieutenant Governor Sabina Matos, thank you so much for being on my show today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pastor Shirley. It's such a pleasure to be here with you and to have this opportunity to reflect with reflection.
So, you know, we had the opportunity to meet at the festival.
At the festival, yeah.
And it was so awesome to have you there, to be a part of the community, and for you to be there to present that citation. It was just incredible. The experience was incredible, and it was very engaging to see how you impacted the community that day. And that's why I know for sure you was meant to be in this office doing the great work that Rhode Island needs. So tell us, you're originally from Dominican Republic.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, and and I'm pretty sure there's no place like home, they always say. So, so tell us, you're originally from there, and what made you move here, and do you often go home and visit?
Yeah. No, thank you so much. It was a pleasure being at the festival and having the opportunity to share with you and to be able to recognize the work that you do and everything that you're doing for the community. I'm always a fan of sharing on and supporting other women in leadership position and those that have been serving and doing the work in quietly, and I love to have the opportunity to recognize those that we normally don't recognize. So it was my pleasure to be there. But thank you for having me here. Yes, I'm originally from the Dominican Republic. I had been in the United States for almost 30 years.
Wow.
And I came here when I was 20.
Wow.
So I'm going to be 50 next month.
Wow.
So that means that I had been in the United States, in Rhode Island, longer than my time that I lived in the Dominican Republic. Yeah, I enjoy going back there. I don't go as often as I probably would like to. Most of my family is here. I have a large family, especially on my mother's side.
Yes.
She's one of 12 kids. So most of them are here in Rhode Island. and I don't get to go as often. The last time I was there was actually after the election in 2022. Needed a vacation with my family, and we went for a week and enjoyed a part of the Dominican Republic that I normally don't visit that often. It was kind of my second time there, but it's a beautiful area. It's called Las Terrenas. So if you ever want to go, it's a beautiful place to go.
Okay, we'll definitely keep that in mind.
Yes.
But I see that you do go back to your roots, and especially I was watching an excerpt on social media and how you took us into the community where you once lived.
Yeah.
And you were showing them around the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And I see that you are a great advocate of the Latino community. And it's awesome that we don't have enough advocates. And for you to be in the position that you're in and being an advocate for the community, why is advocacy so important to you?
So it is very important to me. At the beginning, when I got involved, actually, I was getting involved with the neighborhood association in Olneyville. And then eventually I joined the board of Olneyville Housing, which is the organization building affordable housing in the community. But the first time when I got engaged in the community was about advocating to make sure that there was affordable housing available in the community, and that the new development coming was not displacing the people that was there all along. I have pride myself on showing the pride of my neighborhood. One of the things that really troubled me a lot at the beginning when I ran for office, I decided to run for office, is because it feels like everything negative, normally they will use Olneyville as the reference point for something negative. And that really bothered me because I knew my neighbors, there's a lot of good people in the neighborhood, and I wanted to change that perception. So I ran for office. Actually, the first time that I ran, I didn't win. In 2006. I ran a second time in 2010, and I got elected to the city council. And the one thing that I prioritized was to make sure that I highlight any positive thing that was happening in the neighborhood. If you go back to my social media page in Facebook, from the beginning, you see my hashtags, Olneyville, #Silver Lake, because I wanted to make sure that people knew about the good things that was happening in that community. That was one of the driving forces for me to run for office.
And it is so important for the community to know that you have their backing. Because sometimes people lose hope, right? And if we have someone who is standing before us and saying, hey, listen, I know where you've been, I know where you're at, we're going to make this work. And sometimes if you got business owners, like I know that area so well, and I go down to the chicken coop that's down there. They make the best chicken, y'all. Let's just tell you that. It's worth the wait. Let me tell you, the chicken is worth the wait. But, just being, especially for entrepreneurs, business owners, sometimes they be like, no.
I can tell you, there are some businesses that have amazing story right there. One of the first things that I did once I joined the city council was to work with the Center for Women's and Enterprise. And at that time, the director was Carmen Diaz-Jusino. And I got then a grant through the city to be able to help the businesses in the Olneyville Square. At that point, there were some empty stores available in the square. There were some businesses, and what we did is we were door knocking to the businesses and asking them, here are the resources, this is what the organization can provide to you. What do you need? Do you need a consultant to come here? Do you need an advisor to help you change the look of your business? Sometimes that just makes a huge difference. Do you need to learn how to manage the finances? Do you need QuickBooks training? And the key for the small business, especially those micro businesses, is that you have to bring the resources to them. because they are too busy in trying to keep the doors open.
That's right.
That they don't have time to be chasing
right.
around the
That's right.
resources. So you have to bring it to
That's
them.
right. That's right.
And there's some amazing story I can tell you about. If you look at the Family K, the first time I met them, they actually were running a business out of their apartment, right?
Wow.
But that shows you like the drive and the tenacity that they have. And now they have their own location. They have a location on Manton Avenue.
Wow.
And now they have a production plant also. So, and there's so many other businesses there that just need for us to work with them and help them find out what the resources are.
Yeah, and it shows that we care if we make ourselves available to them.
Yes.
You know, because it's always hearsay when we'll say, "Oh, we'll do the work for you," but where are you? You know, and so when you're there presenting this to them, they feel like a sense of community.
Yes.
They feel like a sense of value, and this is what we need, and especially in that area, you know, and so I just, when I saw that excerpt, I was like so impressed of the idea that how much you care deeply for that community, that neighborhood, because people often need that push.
Yes.
And then there's always someone that needs to be there to give them that push. So.
Yeah, and I'm proud about the changes that happen in the neighborhood. We were able to build many units, or hundreds of units of housing, working with one neighborhood builder. Working with the Woonasquatucket River Watershed Council, making sure that we clean the riverbank. They build new parks, like Riverside Parks, the little pocket park on Eagle Square, the Donesian Park, like making sure that there were resources. Because one of the things that I always was concerned with is Providence, we paid a lot of taxes, right?
Yes.
And sometimes we don't see what our taxes are paying.
Yes.
And that's why I was very intentional about investing in community resources so people can see what your taxes get.
Yes, and it's going to the right place.
Yes.
And that is so important because, when we start making assumption of where's our money going, we're not assuming it's going to the right place. And to know this, then we can take that investment of what's happening in the state. Yeah. Okay, this is what's happening. Yeah. And showing the proof that
that's right.
That the neighborhoods are being changed and people are seeing this differently. So it's really good to know what's happening.
And there are things that takes time, This is one of the hardest lessons for me to learn. When I was elected to public office, it's like the things don't move like this. You think like, I can get this done. And it takes time to make sure that we have enough resources to redevelop the park. The process for the health center to open the new building in Ownable Square on Atwood, it was a long process of trying to find the right location, but once you see that it finally happens, it gives you a sense of satisfaction to see, yes, it took some time, but it's here, finally happened.
It's amazing, absolutely amazing. When I look at the work that you have done, you're doing a lot for the state of Rhode Island, and you're just busy, just doing great things, So let me ask you, this is just, throwing my next question here. How do you balance your career and your family? How do you balance all that?
Yeah, it's tough in this never a balance, there's never a perfect balance. There are days in which the family demands are priority.
Yes.
There's things that you cannot postpone, either go with your parents to a doctor's appointment or with your child, those takes priority. But I've been very blessed because I have a good support network.
Wow.
My husband supports me a lot. People ask me sometimes, like, how can you be in elected office what does your husband say? And I'm like,
yeah.
my husband likes politics more than me. So that helps a lot. So he helps me a lot. I have the support of my family and friends.
Yeah.
If you don't have that support network,
That's so true.
you cannot do
That's
it.
so true.
And it's every day you're trying to balance in understand what is the priority for the day.
Yeah.
You may have a day plan.
Yes.
And something can change like this, you know?
Yes.
So you have to keep yourself flexible.
Yes.
And understand that things can change at the last minute.
Yes. And it's good to have that support,
Yeah.
the anchor of support that is going to be there for you.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, your husband is, he loves politics, and that really helps a lot.
It does.
When you
It
come
does.
home, you can just get
Yeah.
around everything and be able to, release of what happened that day to him, and get that reassurance. Okay, I'm gonna put back on my political hat again and do this all over again, and then come home and be that wife and be that mother to your children. So it's amazing that
Every time that I see any other elected officials with their spouse, it could be the husband or the wife, I normally like to thank them for the support, you know, because every elected official that is doing the work out there, if they didn't have that support and that understanding at home, it makes things really, really difficult. So I always like to acknowledge the partners of the elected officials whenever we are in any event together, because it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
They sacrifice a lot in order
that's
to
wonderful.
for the elected officials to be able to be out there.
Right,
Yes.
that's wonderful. So, I really want to talk about this important topic, in terms of homelessness.
Yes.
I'm a case manager at Amos House, and I work with clients day to day who is experiencing homelessness, and it's on a serious high. And one of the biggest issues is affordable housing.
Yeah.
And, that's huge, not in just every area of the island.
Yeah.
What do you think would take for folks to, find that affordable housing? You have your blue collar worker, a single mom with 2 kids, trying to make ends meet, but yet she can't afford housing, and then you face the possible of eviction. So, what do you believe will be in the works, or what is happening, with that?
Yeah, housing has been one of the areas in which I had been involved even before I was in elected office. As I mentioned earlier, I was on the board of Vulnerable Housing. I have seen the difference that building affordable housing did, how it changed a neighborhood and how it changed people's life. I'm proud that we were able to allocate out of the ARPA funding $250 million for housing, because as you know, the state of Rhode Island have never made an investment like this in housing. And we need to continue to advocate to have another housing bond also that we need to advocate for and pass. But there are a few things that we got to understand about homelessness, and you understand this, but the general public needs to know. One is we shouldn't be having stereotypes about who is homeless, because any of us can become homeless. Any of us can be just a paycheck away from becoming homeless. One of the biggest challenges for me, since I've been in the elected to public office, and when I was in the city council especially, is to know that every winter especially, there's so many families that are victims of fire, and they don't have a place to go.
No.
We, as you know, the Red Cross can give them 2 nights in a hotel.
Yeah.
Then after that,
Yeah.
there's not resources to help them.
That's right.
There's so many families that become homeless because of an episode like this.
Yes.
Either a fire, or now with the flood, we're just seeing what's happening with the flood right now. There are people that are losing everything.
Yes.
There are families that they don't have the savings. Or I remember I was speaking at one of the Chamber of Commerce about this issue, because I believe we need to change the federal definition of homelessness. As you know, in the federal definition, if I'm staying in my sister's couch, right? I'm not homeless because I
Yes.
have a place to be.
Yes.
If the Red Cross is gave me a night or 2 nights at a hotel,
Yes.
technically I'm not homeless
Yes.
at the federal definition.
Yep.
And that needs to change.
Yes.
Because we're waiting until families are in crisis before they can tap into resources. So I have always been advocating for a change
Yes.
in that definition. Right now, if someone is a victim of a fire, there's not resources to help them
Yes.
rent another apartment and to be able to get their life back together. So we need to continue to advocate for those resources because, as I said earlier, any of us can become
That's
homeless
right.
at any
That's
moment,
right.
you know?
That's right.
We have to count our blessings every day.
Yes.
Thanks God for the protections that He's given us. But we have to understand that when you see someone on the street, don't judge that person.
Yes.
Because that could be you.
That's right.
That could be you. And
That's
we need to
right.
get people to understand
That's right.
that any of us can be in that situation.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And, and stereotype, especially in the homeless community, it's really bad because people feel as though, oh, they're homeless because they couldn't pay their rent. No, there's various reasons as to why. They could be someone getting ill, or they lost their job,
Yes.
So there's various reasons as to why, someone becoming homeless. It happens to everyone, like you
It can
said.
happen to
It's-
anybody.
Yeah.
In a medical bill,
Yeah.
that can be the one thing that gets someone on the street
Yeah.
because they don't have how to pay for
Yeah.
the bill. So there's so many reasons why someone can end up being homeless, and all of us have to be conscious about it,
yeah.
and to understand that is all of us have to work and find a solution for
Yeah.
to find a solution for homelessness.
So what is some of the ways we could, as constituents,
Yeah.
how can we get involved?
Yes.
What could we say to someone who's
Mm-hmm.
watching and say, oh, I want to get involved? How can they do that?
So I'll give you a good example.
Mm-hmm.
My office, I introduced together with the Senator Coleman and Rep. Jude Speedman. It's a legislation at the State House to help those that are trying to find an apartment.
Yes.
And this is the legislation. It's titled the Fair Chance on Housing, because right now someone can be applying for an apartment, right?
Yes.
Filling out an application.
Yes.
But the landlord may look at their credit score, right, and says, "Oh, if your credit score is not good, I'm not going to rent to you." It doesn't matter if they have enough, if they're making enough money that they can pay the rent. Or if someone was just as involved, they can say, "Oh no, you have a record. I'm not going to rent to you." So what the legislation is looking for is to make sure that the landlords are not looking at your credit score past 3 years. And think about this: how many young professionals, their credit score had been damaged because of the student loan,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So this is giving us really a fair chance for someone to be able to rent an apartment.
Yes.
So what we're asking for is that the landlords don't look at the credit score past 3 years, right? If your credit score has been okay in the past 3 years, and they don't look at your any records past 10 years, or unless this is a violent crime. That's a different situation. And that is going to give people an opportunity
Yes.
to really find an apartment, because
Yes.
sometimes their application gets denied and they're not even given a fair chance to apply for that apartment.
Right.
So that's one of the things how you could get involved. You could come to the State House and testify. Senator Coleman's going to be introducing the bill again this year. So that's one way. The speaker right now is going to be supporting again, introducing the accessible dwelling units, the ADUs. This is to allow those that are able to build an in-laws in their house, so they can rent it out to someone. They're able to do that, or
Right.
build another houses in their backyard if you have enough space. So right now that's not allowed. And the speaker, Shikashi, has been working on this, and he's going to be pushing for this legislation this year. Get involved with that. come to the State House, testify, send a letter, send an email, let your
Yes.
voice come across so the state reps and senators know that this is an important issue for you.
Absolutely.
And then also, just like I started being a board member of one of the community organizations that builds affordable housing, get involved with those
Yes,
organizations.
yes.
Like in Providence, you have One Neighborhood Builders, but you also have SWAP, and you have the Pawtucket Central Falls Housing Development. Get involved with those organizations because, one of the things that I enjoyed a lot when I was in the board is I was able to be part of the process, see what is coming,
Yes.
being part of the decision of which areas are gonna be targeted first. Like I remember prioritizing the housing in front of the school to make sure that when the children are going to school, it looks safe and it's safe for them. So in seeing the before and after, once a development happened, I really enjoyed that.
Wow.
You can, anyone that would like to get involved, that's a really good way how you can get involved and help with the solutions.
Well, that is good to know. That's
Yeah.
really good to know. It really takes a community involvement to make things happen, and it's good to hear that. We don't have to just sit on the sidelines and not see the work done. But if we rally together as constituents who wants a change in the state, that will be the first thing that we could do. So this is really good to hear. Of what we as a society needs to be doing. But, I really want to, I got to read this question verbatim. And the reason as to why, because this is for women.
Okay.
And, I really, really want you to really talk about this, because this is so important for women. Yeah. So, gender bias and stereotypes present significant challenges for women in leadership roles.
Yes.
Making it difficult for them to be taken seriously as leaders. Men have traditionally been in the forefront of leadership, which further exacerbates this issue. What are your thoughts supporting women in these roles?
The first thing we have to do is we gotta ask women to lead. If you look at the research, shows that if you ask a man to run for office, the first time you ask them, they say, "Oh yes, I can do this," right? For a woman, the average, you gotta ask a woman 7 times on average before they say, "Oh yes, maybe I can do this." And we have to encourage more women to get involved, to run for office, to go for that leadership position at your job, to try to apply for, if you've been thinking about, should I apply for this position, go for it.
Yes.
Because for females, we think a lot about it.
Yeah.
And we need to learn to take risks. And I can tell you, I can talk also about my failures, Sometimes we don't talk about failures enough. And I think it's important for us to understand that, yes, sometimes things are not going to go the way we expected. But at the end of the day, it is important for us to go for it, take the risk, and show the next generation, show other women that it can be done. I had moments in my life in which I'm feeling really down and I'm overwhelmed. And all of a sudden, I get a message especially from another woman that sent me a message, and it happens to me recently, saying, "You know what, I doing this because I saw you doing it.
Yes.
I want to thank you for showing that it can be done."
Yes.
And you won't believe how many people are watching, and sometimes we forget about it.
Yes.
And now that we have the Martin Luther King Day coming up, celebration, right?
Yes.
In one of the quotes is from him is that as people, we're gonna get there.
Yes.
So if we gotta keep that in mind, that this is a collective effort that we're doing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Whenever you decide to push the boundaries a little bit, run for office, you're pushing and you're doing it not for you, but you're doing it for all of us. As women, we're doing it for all of us.
Yes.
And as minority, we're doing it for
Yes.
all of us.
Yes.
So we're gonna get there as people, and you gotta remember that.
Yes.
It's not about one individual person.
And I think that if you were to tell a 9-year-old, a girl who has such high inspiration, who has a dream, who has a goal, this will be one of the things that they could take with them and say, if that happened for them, this could happen for me.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
In many occasions, females, young girls don't see themselves represented in leadership positions. They don't see enough of them represented in leadership position, and that's why we have to make sure that there are more of us representing and showing them that yes, you can do it.
Yes.
It can be done.
Yes.
It's really hard for them to think that they can do it if they don't see anyone that looks like them doing
Yes.
it. So that's why we gotta support one another.
Yes, that is so true. And I'm so glad that you answered that question perfectly. To see women in leadership, especially in the role that you play, that says a lot about me. And I can say, because I wear many hats, and I can say, if she can do it, so can I.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So and that empowers me to know that if our lieutenant governor is in office, why can I not be in office?
Yes.
Right?
That's
And
the
so that is so vital. This is so important, especially for women who is coming up in leadership roles.
Yeah.
And I think that is so important that we need to keep that in the forefront.
Yeah.
And knowing that 9-year-old girl,
Yeah.
that little 9-year-old will turn 18 and 21
Yeah.
and then 25, and then she could have the opportunity to run office. So this is good to know. So here's my last question.
Yes.
Because we can talk about this all day long. But my last question is, what is the primary focus right now? What is the work that you are trying to do right now for Rhode Island?
So housing continued to be my priority. As I mentioned, those legislations are going to be introduced. I'm going to be advocating for housing legislations at the State House. Going to be working again with Senator Coleman to get the fair chance of housing. Hopefully this is the year that we pass that. But supporting the other legislations that are around housing. I'm going to be getting really involved with advocating for the housing bond this year, because we have to make sure that we keep those resources available to be able to build more housing and affordable housing. And the work that I do in the Office of Lieutenant Governor, there's the work that I do with the Long-Term Care Coordinator Council. We put together a report early last year that is looking at the challenges for affordable housing for seniors and for people with disability.
Nice.
And I'm going to be working to implement those recommendations that we have in that report. And also, I'm going to be, soon we're going to have the Alzheimer plan for the state of Rhode Island. It's gonna be ready by the end of this month. And there's going to be also work that's going to happen on that area.
Nice. Well, this is great. This is so great. Thank you once again, Lieutenant Governor, for being on the show, giving us some informative information that we need, and what you're doing and how you're impacting the lives of so many, and just being involved in the community. And like she said, y'all, please, if you want to get involved, if you want to be that advocate, where can they go? And how can they?
So they can always call me. The number's 401-400-1315. You can call me. I can put you in contact, let you know about the legislations that are coming, who is sponsoring the housing legislation, so you can bring testimony. Either you can go and testify in person, or you can send a letter or an email, so I can make sure that you get that information also.
Thank you. Well, here you hear it, y'all. You heard it from our Lieutenant Governor Sabina Matos. on my show today. And I'm going to tell you, she's doing great work. Listen, be a support, be a great advocate, be in touch, be involved. We need more advocates like you so that we can change the way our state is living. So listen, tune in for my next guest. My next guest is coming on. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Listen, my first interview with Lieutenant Governor Sabina Matos was excellent. And let me tell you, I have this next guest. This next guest of mine, she really don't need an introduction, but I'm going to give you one anyway because this woman is on fire, just like her here. And I'm going to tell you, she is doing it for us sisters. And I'm so glad that she is on today. Listen, you wouldn't believe who I have on here, but I'm going to give an introduction anyway. So my next guest is an award-winning cosmetologist with over 20 years of experience in the beauty industry. She has made a significant impact in the hair community with her newly founded organization called Bliss Gives, which she will tell us more about. So I need you all to please give a warm welcome to my great guest, Christine Page. Christine, thank you so much, girl, for being on my show today.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much for having me here today. I really appreciate the opportunity.
You know, it's amazing that I've been following you on social media, and you are just amazing. You know, you do great work, not only in the beauty industry, but just in the community itself. And you know, every time I turn around, there's Christine Page, or if I find her on social media, it's Christine Page. I mean, she's just like everywhere. And it's just amazing to see that everything that you do it well. And I know that it takes a lot of work of what you do. But, you know, before we get into all of that, tell us where you are originally from. Where are you originally from?
Well, I am originally from Providence, Rhode Island, born right here and raised right here in Providence, Rhode Island. I am Liberian. My mom is Liberian from Monrovia, and my dad he's Black American. He's from Virginia. But I was born and raised right here in Providence, Rhode Island. Most people think I'm from some other state or something, or maybe I've lived somewhere else, but like, no, I've lived here all my life. This is all I know. I absolutely love Rhode Island. I love Providence, and it'll always be my home.
So, you know, I had the privilege to go to your salon when you had it open on Adams Ave, and my cousin Gloria Johnson, you know, used to get her hair done over there. And I said, "Oh, girl, your hair's nice." And she said, "Tell me all about you." And I'm like, "Okay, let me come in there one day." And I happened to meet you. You was doing somebody's hair, and I don't think you remember me then. But you know, this was just like the impact what you was showing. Like it was almost as God was lining up the plan, you know, and so for you to be where you were then, it's amazing to see where you are now. So tell us, how did you get into cosmetology? How did you get into all of that?
Well, I got into cosmetology as a young girl in just 3rd or 4th grade, just trying to look good and maintain the look, because kids are evil, right? They like to make fun of you, and I always had like short hair and these little braids and little beads, and you know, just wanting to like switch up the look and grow out of the braids and things. One day a friend of mine did my hair, and I had to maintain it after that, you know, so I started playing around with relaxers and hair cutting and coloring, and just started maintaining my own hair. Because of course, as a young girl, your mom doesn't want to send you to the barbershop every weekend, and you're over here trying to be cute and live your best life. So I'm in the bathroom figuring it out, right? And I was naturally a creative soul. I love to draw. I love to create things. I love fun and color, and so I just kind of combined those two things into just creating my own looks. And before I knew it, people in the neighborhood would ask me to do their hair for like the prom or different dances. So I slowly became known as the girl to go to get your hair and makeup done for a special event.
Wow.
And I did hair all the way until, after I had kids. I had both of my sons they're now 24 and 21 years old.
Wow.
But at that time, I was just kind of living the American dream. I had a great job. I was a case manager for arbitration cases, which is dispute management. And I felt like, I knew I had the car, the house, the family.
Yes.
I was kind of living what they called the American dream
Yes.
at a very young age.
Yes.
And, one day I decided that going to work 9 to 5 every day and like tailoring my wants and needs to others wasn't really my thing. And I was like, is this what life is until you die? Like, this is it. Like, this is the American dream until you die. And I'm like only like 20 or 21 at the time. So I'm like, oh no, I can't do this for the next 60 years. I got to find a way out. So I enrolled in cosmetology school. I decided to leave my full-time job and take cosmetology very, very seriously because people think or thought, cosmetologists, they're dumb. That's just like something they do on the side. That's for people who aren't educated. And I was just like, I'm very educated and I love nice things. So I'm going to make a lot of money, which means I'm going to be the best hairdresser I can possibly be. Not the best in the town, but the best that I could be. And so I enrolled in Paul Mitchell, the school. Which, just didn't have many students of color. But what attracted me to that school was how welcome they made me feel. And I was really interested in doing all hair types. Because I'm Black, I didn't want to be known as like the Black hairdresser. I really wanted to be known as well-rounded. And the reason why I say because I'm Black is because sometimes when people just see your color, your nationality, they just assume that's all you cater to or that's all that you do. And like I quickly became known as a well-rounded hairdresser that did all hair types, all ages. If you had hair, no hair, whatever the case was, we would like make it happen. So I got into cosmetology because I really wanted to have a purpose-driven life and feeling like I was giving my talents and what I had to my community. And to feel happy every day, to get up and go help people feel beautiful. It was like enriching for me.
So
It motivated me.
That's going to be my next question is because now you have a hair replacement center. And I've seen, images of some of your clients and you make this wig for them and you create this style. And in one of the photos that I've seen, you made this woman feel like she was someone special. That's amazing. Like when you see that and when you perform that kind of work for them, how does that make you feel?
I mean, it always gives me chills. I mean, and at this point, I almost sit back and wait for the moment because I realize it's going to hit them at some point. And then I'm like, can you do that again on record? No. Can I document that, please? Because like these moments are so one of a kind and they are life-changing. I mean, literally, you can see someone just feel so inspired to then get out and have courage to speak up for themselves or go get that job or talk to that guy or talk to that girl or even just feel really good about themselves. So that motivates me because it's really hard work. Being a cranioprosthetic specialist, being one of the few in the area, if not the country, it's hard work. A lot of people think it's like just like making a regular wig, which it's not. And, it's a cranioprosthetic, which is the medical term for pretty much the ultimate wig of wigs, right? So someone who has a medical condition can't just buy a wig off Amazon or go make a wig or go to the wig store. It needs to be made in a certain way. So we take head measurements, we make a mold of the head, we create the hairline, and that unit is made custom for them according to whatever conditions they have so that they can actually feel really good about themselves. So sometimes even someone who has cancer, Once they're diagnosed, they will receive a prescription, knowing that, cancer doesn't cause your hair to fall out. It can fall out with the side effects of some of the medicine.
Yes.
So to be preventative, sometimes if the person is okay with it, what we can do is we cut off their hair before they start their treatment, and we use their natural hair in the units that we actually make. Sometimes they don't have a lot of hair to use to create an entire unit, right? But we'll use their natural hair along the hairline and where they actually part their hair. And we ventilate the hair into the unit. And then the rest of the unit is constructed from human hair.
Yes.
So it is 100% human hair. Then we dye it, we color it, we fit it. And this is where my cosmetology background, and even going to Paul Mitchell School and having like a diverse catalog of clients.
Yes.
It's not just about creating that unit, then it's about making it real.
Yes.
So you really have to have experience in coloring hair, cutting hair, and all hair textures and types, because density and texture and the direction of flow of hair, like all of that comes into play, the bones of the head.
Yes.
So, it's very fulfilling. It takes me weeks sometimes to make a unit, but as I'm doing that, I'm just thinking about the person who's going to receive it and how much it's going to change their life.
You really do make an impact for, clients, especially that picture, that photo of that woman that was so inspiring to see. You leaned over and you hugged her, and it looked as though she was just so blessed, to see that change in her life, and not only you do that so well, but you give back to the community. So let's talk about Bliss Gives.
Talk about it.
Talk about Bliss Gives. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, Bliss Gives is so cool because it started organically and naturally in my salon. So I've been a salon owner for 10 years now, and Bliss Medical Hair Replacement Center is also a salon.
Yes.
I just kind of keep that low key because I don't want people lining up outside trying to get regular haircuts as I'm trying to make, wigs and units. But it is still a service salon where we provide other salon services, but obviously our cranial prosthetic clients are our priority. But in the salon environment, Bliss Salon that started 10 years ago, we found ourselves in situations where, in the salon you're just talking and all of a sudden maybe you're saying a little too much from client to client, and you're finding out this one is this one and this one has that issue or concern or situation that she's working through. And a lot of times I didn't realize the wonderful people that were sitting in my chair. I'm like, well, I got some prestigious people around here. Wow. And so we just started connecting people. And we just thought it was a great way to say, hey, you're sitting over here under the dryer. She's a nurse talking about this, that, and the other. Why don't you guys sit and talk for a moment? And through situations like that, we really started to realize that we were connecting people and that they were in an environment that they felt safe to talk. And maybe I had something to do with that because people felt comfortable to talk in a way that they normally wouldn't talk to a stranger, right?
Yes.
So helping to make that connection felt really good.
Yes.
So that's one piece of Bliss Gives. But the other piece is I naturally just love helping people and seeing the joy on their face, and I get a kick out of that, right?
Yes.
It gets me excited.
Yes.
So I would do so many different things in the neighborhood and call even different organizations and say, hey, is there something I can do to come help? Is there something I can donate? We started doing hair services for the homeless, helping them get jobs, feel good about themselves. We would go to Crossroads and bring the whole salon there, or even invite them to the salon, close out the whole day for them, bring the whole family, make everybody feel really good. So I started doing a lot of things in the community that other people in the community started to recognize.
Yes.
As far as community leaders and activists.
Yes.
And then they just started kind of coming to me and talking to me and saying, hey, what is this that you're doing? I'm like, I just kind of do it for fun.
Yes.
And they're like, you're doing community work.
Yes.
Like, that's really a nonprofit work. And I started to connect the pieces and started hanging with some other people that do the same thing. And I just kind of came to the conclusion that, okay, if I want to continue to help people, I should do it in an organized way.
Yes.
With others that are about the same thing, and we can have a bigger impact. So that's how we started Bliss Gives. Someone great in the community helped me start it, helped me think of a name, helped me
awesome.
get some people together. And we started right there in my salon on Atwells Ave, right there on Federal Hill. If anyone remembers my salon,
I remember.
it was all glass from top to the bottom. We were in there all day, almost every day, so you could see everything.
Oh my God.
And we would, after we finished working, we would have our meetings, and we started Bliss Gives.
Wow, that is awesome.
And that was 5 years ago. So we are 5 years in.
Awesome.
And we continue to go out into the community. Our mission statement with Bliss Gives is we help people become the best version of themselves through personal and business development.
Oh my God, that is so awesome that you're doing such great work in the community and just being involved in everything that you do and being a help to those who are in need. So that is really, really awesome. But I know that you had the opportunity and the pleasure to work with Vice President Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Tell us, what was that experience like for you?
Well, I have to say it was normal. It was normal. She walked in the room like she was just big sister. There was I thought they were going to play the national anthem. And I was waiting for like, dun, dun, dun. I didn't know, So when she walked in the room, I had my cell phone in my hand. I was like sipping some water. So I was like, oh, okay. The vice president is here.
gosh.
And she just walked in like, hi, how are you doing? Introduced herself. And she was sitting right next to me for the interview. So I was so excited about that. But it started with the White House reaching out to me.
Wow.
Asking me if I would like to participate in an event with the vice president.
Wow.
And I said, are you sure you're looking for me? They said, yeah, we're looking for you. We know exactly who you are. And I said, well, does she need her hair done? I'm thinking she needs her hair done, maybe a little makeup, something. They're like, no, she wants to talk to you. And I'm like,
Oh my God.
about what? What you want to talk to me about? And I was just so excited to know that she wanted to know about my business. And at the time, I was actually just starting Bliss Medical Hair Replacement Center.
Wow.
And that's why they reached out, because I utilized Bliss Medical Hair Replacement Center as my pivot from Bliss Salon during COVID, when it just was not a time that I could possibly do hair 6 feet away, right? Who could do hair 6 feet away?
Yes.
So of course I had to minimize the amount of clients that I would be able to take and increase my price.
Yes.
Which is what allowed me to make the full transition into being a cranioprosthetic specialist,
Wow.
where now I would only have to see 3 to 5 clients a week and make 2 to 3 times more than what I did before, and I could kind of track who I'm around and be safe. So that pivot in my business is what caught the attention of the White House.
Wow.
And they interviewed other business women, and they wanted our stories to help inspire America to figure it out, get it together, come up with something, and keep this economy going. So I was delighted.
Oh my God.
I completely cleared my calendar. I only had about
Oh,
3 days
I will too.
notice.
Yes, I will
They're like,
too.
are you available? I was like, of course I am. Clear everything off my
Yes.
calendar. I probably didn't sleep at all for
Oh,
those
I
3
could
days.
imagine. I know that must have been an incredible experience. You know, all these incredible experiences that you are going through right now, and it's such an amazing, especially what's about to come up, boss level experience. Yes, that's all going down.
Yes,
Tell
ma'am.
us, when is it happening? What's taking place? Where they
Yes.
can purchase the tickets? Tell us what's happening.
Absolutely. So it's happening on April 7th at the Rhode Island Convention Center. We are having the Business Boss Level Extravaganza, which is the ultimate red carpet gala for business owners, entrepreneurs, and leaders in the community and our supporters. So don't feel if you're not fitting in one of those categories. If you're a supporter, if you share, if you like, if you comment, if you spend money, if you tell friends about it, the fact that you support us is what can make us business owners, entrepreneurs, and leaders, right? And we can't be anything without our supporters. So we definitely want our supporters to come. The dress code is very strict, okay? It's gold, black, and red. So where those colors are alone or in combination, it's semi-formal to formal, which means dress up, okay? If you're not the type that wants to go get a full-length gown and a three-piece suit, that's why we threw semi-formal in there, so you can still put that button up on or that polo, still dress up with strictly no denim, very classy. We had this event 2 years ago. We're going to do it every 2 years. We've decided. I can fill you in on that if there's time. But we did it at the Waterfire Arts Center. It was invite only at the time, completely sold out, 300 guests, amazing. This time we're doing it bigger and better. We'll have at least 500 guests. We're opening it up to the public. And we're calling it an extravaganza this year because it's even bigger and better, more surprises. And our guest list is amazing. The entertainment is amazing. Woo. We've invited everyone from the church folks to the politicians to the older folks to the younger folks, to everyone is included. And the reason why we do this is to really bring everyone together.
That's wonderful.
Most events are focused on a certain population or demographic, right? And I feel through our mission statement with Bliss Gives, where we help empower people to be the best version of themselves through personal and business development, there isn't one sector, one population that we need to function in life. We need just about a little bit of everything, right?
Absolutely, yes.
So why not bring all these people together like we did in the salon, right? And say, hey, I do this, I do that. Whether it's a business you need or not, we're even talking. We're honoring cannabis in this. And I know some of my church folks are probably like, "What is she doing?"
Yes.
But there's some people that need that. There's
Yes.
some people that
Yes.
legit need that, want
Yes.
it, and it's legal.
Yes.
So
Yes.
why not acknowledge that industry? So we've added so many categories this year.
Wow.
We have 26.
Wow.
And some people are like, girl, how are you going to give out 26 awards? Well, we do things a little differently,
Yes.
And I'm not talking about anyone's anything. It's just we do things differently, right? So instead of possibly giving out 4 or 5 awards where, maybe each awardee talks for 15, 20 minutes and all that good stuff. This is a business, right? We treat it like a business. This is your award, this is what you got, say what you got to say,
Yes.
we got to keep it moving,
Yes.
right? So we get through it, trust me, and we get through it in the same amount of time as just about anyone else, okay? So, and we don't promise to get through acknowledge all the awards. We did all those categories for a reason, to show that almost every industry is acknowledged on there, to show that everything is needed.
Yes.
Now, through the nominations that come in, we'll know what the community feels is most important, and the categories with the most nominations will receive the opportunity to be awarded. Mm-hmm. But if we can if all categories receive nominations, we'll get through all 26 categories.
This is going to be an amazing event. Listen, I'm so looking forward to it. Girl, you are just doing your thing, and I love the website because everybody's had their hands up and everybody's just in complete joy.
Yeah.
And it's just inviting. The website is so inviting.
Thank
Y'all, listen. If you want to help, if you want to be a great support to Bliss Gives, please give. If it's not monetary, give your time, your support. Even encouraging words, she can always use it.
Oh, absolutely.
So give towards Bliss Gives. Give to the work that she does and does so well. How they can get in touch with you?
BlissGives.com. BlissGives.com will lead you to every other link that we have. Everything is online. Trust me, we figured that out. If you would love to support, you can go to support.blissgives.com. Even if you just go to blissgives.com, it will lead you to everything else. If you want to sponsor, if you want to volunteer, we have so many volunteer positions, which gives you a free ticket to the event, and you can show off your talents, you can show off your business. We're going to have a singles mingle at this event. If you're single, make sure you go check it out. We have some couples coming back talking about their 1-year anniversary who met at the singles mingle last year. I know it sounds like a lot. It's all happening at the same time. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Please check us out at blissgives.com.
All right. Well, you heard it all. You heard it all, everyone. Again, we thank you, our special guest, Christine Page, for coming on this episode of Reflections TV. Tune in on next month, y'all. Tune in on next month as we will have a brand new episode to come. Thank you you to everyone that came. Thank you, Christine, to Lieutenant Governor Matos, and stay tuned and have a wonderful day.